y'all. So I am here today. I have done my second edition of The Curious Collector. I'm so excited about this. It took a long time in the making. Um, Designing, just having a fun, really. Um, and everybody liked the first one so much, we thought we'd put out another one. So this one is packed full. Vintage ephemera, uh, mostly vintage ephemera. It has lace and um, tweed and all kinds of materials, beads, stones, fluffy things. Here's a brooch in browns, different colors of stones that finish it off with this wool material that I cut and made the ribbon actually into a bow. So anyway, I'm going to get started and show you. There's quite a bit, so this may have to be broken down into 2 videos or so. But I'm going to do my best to give her justice and see how she goes. Anyway, again, here's the brooch, and I put these on all my Curious Collectors because it's like I want to put stuff in them that it's a journal, but at the same time, I want it to have things that when you look at, touch, feel, read, you're curious about where it came from, who actually touched the item, what did they think when they touched the item, was it a gift to somebody? There's some that were from races that somebody ran as a child in school that got a reward, those little rewards. And what did they feel like when they received the reward for first place, second place, or whatever the case may be. Just whoever the lucky buyer is of this, will just take the time to live it, think about each piece, and what conversations do you think they had during looking at it? Anyway, so we'll start here. We'll take this off. This keeps the book closed. Actually, the book was made out of a box, a flip box. Very sturdy, with so much material and that kind of thing. So it actually flips down. I'm going to have to move it around so y'all can see it actually flips down. I put some stones and stuff on the lid right here, and she has a bow. I'm sorry if I go too far away to get the whole book in at one time. It's too far away and you can't see what's fun about it. There's some stones on the side. Move it this way. And the bow that's pulled. And the outside has newspaper articles out of Time magazine. All of this is vintage newspaper articles that was ripped up. And this is an old music page. And then we will start with moving it this way. First off, let me get this out of the way. This is vintage papers, stories, music books, recipe cards that was laminated for a writing board. Has old pictures in it that came out of the Time magazines. The Time magazines in this one is pretty much from the 50s. I have multiple Time magazines. So this is a paid check that I laminated also, from cashed December 20th, 1911. Probably getting ready to do their Christmas shopping, you think. And it is signed on the back, paid by the bank. And so I'll get those, and that's done. So here we have, when you flip it up, this is a newspaper ad that was in one of the Time magazines, and you can see the prices and the old toys and all of that. So it is not laminated, but decoupaged on the inside. This is coffee and tea dye paper. And then we have some vintage doilies that were attached to the top. And of course, on this one, I did not cut the strings. That's pretty easily done if you choose that you want to cut the strings. I just kind of like all the clunky, junky, you know, kind of stuff in some of the books. All right, now here we go. We're going to try to get this all into picture. These are the flip pages, and we have a poem here, some old vintage lace, old stamp, and this is a reward that somebody got from the Future Farmers of America, a champion reward. The date is 1960, and it's for at the fair. And then we did some of little paper lace. Inside we have one of the pictures from the book, the Time magazine, writing card. This is faux ephemera. Then we have the class of 1922 of Royce City. This is about an event. Please answer if you want to attend. With the pocket here. Some stamps. And then we have another turn down page. Roses are red, violets are blue. Are you for me? I am for you. Vintage lace. Some vintage papers. And then we did a bow. And then we have a vintage stamp up here. And then we did a stamping. Some of the coffee and tea stain. And then ribbon made of the paper. Here is another page that we have. These are all out of a vintage poem book, children's poem book. Wheel broke, axle dragging, you can't ride on my red wagon. Vintage napkin. And then we have a bunch of ephemera in here. Some is original, some is from an old book. Money is easy to spend, but hard to save. Let family stamps save for you. So apparently that gets green stamps or some sort of stamp on it. In My Heart, old school page. Vintage lace, doilies, ribbon. This was actually cut out of a vintage. There would be a lot of this material through this book. Out of a scarf. Another page of some stamping in a pocket. Here's a vintage picture out of a book with some music notes. And a vintage doily with some buttons. And then it has a little butterfly hanging off the side of it. And said first and thought after, bring many in disaster. Then we have an old letter, 1930. Actually, it's an envelope somebody drew on. And I don't think there's nothing inside. No, there's nothing inside of that one. And then we have an old farm dinner honeycorn muffin recipe, a vintage from Vancouver, Canada seafood restaurant, postcard. Somebody had a good time, ate some good food. Then we have this poem called Solitude with a picture of a lady on an old vintage map, some stamps, butterfly, bow. We have put in some tea-dyed paper lace. And this is a very old card. Let's see. Here's the other side of it. And here it says, oh, nobody's listening, so come till I tell you, and don't speak a word till all of it's said. My heart, it is lost, and I know you have found it, and you must just give me your own heart instead. And it has a little boy on a ladder with some flowers, with the little girl standing in a window. And then here is the front of that card. It has all been bound in this book. Got some buttons. This is an old ad on Quip. You'll see another one in here that I sewed onto a card for writing. And then we have, oops, this one. We have a writing card, pocket. We have a little mini envelope down here, some bows, a flip up. We have a little bitty baby card, writing card. Another poem. I will give you my heart, and you give me yours to me. We'll lock them up together and throw away the key. Part of a map, stamps, flip up. And then this is an old, it says table number 5, couple number 2, 1922. It's in honor of somebody. And the poem for this one is some like 3, some like 2, but I like 1, and that is you. And then this is parts of an old book, and then I cut this out. Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer swears they will keep mum about this, and they wish they may drop down dead in their tracks if they ever tell and rot. And this poem here says, when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. When character is lost, all is lost. And then we have some little dangle beads, or dangle coins here. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1, the others escaped with minor injuries. And there's the clock with the mice. Then we have an old card, gift card here, a flip up, and in the pockets another, this is the second award for the Future Farmers of America, and it's a 1960s. Can you imagine holding it, kind of being in the moment of how they felt when they got that, the smiles, the laughter in the crowd, what it is they want it for, that kind of thing. Here is an old book page, poem, Be Strong. And then some old vintage map, old vintage dictionary. Then we have a huge 1960 ribbon from Diamond Jubilee Prime Junior Market Steer Show. So they attended and won in the steer show. Old vintage napkins. How many times did she go to the powder room with this? Old stamp. We have a pocket here, flip down. An old poem from the book with some butterflies, flowers. And this one's called The Daffodils. And then we have some lace, some vintage lace, another pocket. The kind hearts are the gardens, kind thoughts are the roots, kind words are the blossoms, kind deeds are the fruits. And then here's another one. It has a decoupage napkin on it. Yesterday is gone, forget it. Tomorrow has not come, don't worry about it. Today is here, use it. And then this is the story out of the Time magazine, and it talks about Winston Churchill and a visit that he made, and says how I loved that man. And then some just little odds and ends, this and that's. Writing space, part of a book, husky puppies in a boot. Thought that was so cute. Here's some more writing, and here is part of a book page that shows some looks like redone, refurbished vintage home furniture, paintings, all that kind of stuff. And some more vintage page, music page, an old French dance, tea dye, coffee dye paper, information from books, And then we have some paper, an old kid's school book. Looks like their old dictionary school book. And here is a page out of the 1950s. I'm not for sure which one I used, but I know it's 1950s Time magazine. Wonder how many people have turned the page on this and read through this magazine. More writing space. This is an old school newspaper that was typed up, and it talks about the junior news, senior news, 7th grade news. Map. Southern Methodist University letterhead and the book page. And this is not in a language that I know. But if you actually hit your phone on there and put it in the Google search and then click it to photograph, Google will translate what this page is. So you'll be able to read it by giving a picture to Google on that. Dictionary, coffee dye, tea dye. Another ad. This is the best pumpkin pie ad. Carnation milk ad. And then we have some old vintage information out of a book. Some birds and owls. No book was hurt in the making of this book. All of the books were pretty much used that were beyond repair. Another ad. Know that these are cars of the year. Boy, my, how the models have changed that model these cars. Dictionary page, another page. Move it right along so our time don't run out. And here's a school paper that somebody wrote notes on. That's the school newspaper. And then we put in another ad from the Time magazine. How many minutes to Christmas? And the vintage dictionary page. This is part of Opera News Stories. Holy Paintings. Little Huskies. And then we have some more flip pages. The Night Has 1,000 Eyes. There's a poem out of a vintage book. Another one, some vintage cards. Another pocket. Pockets down here. This actually has a pocket, 1 pocket, 2 pocket, 3 pocket, and 4. With all kinds of little stuff in it. Ice skating certificate, 1955. And when you are old and out of shape, remember girdles are $2.98. That was part of that poem out of the book. And then we have some old game cards, some old game money. And then we have a story about a scandal. There's some vintage stuff going on up here. A scandal from the 1940s. And this says, editor Hathaway have fought Long Island racetrack and labor racketeers since 1950. Life's a Party. There's an old vintage ad that was in the book, made into a card and a little pocket with paper lace. Love you, I love you divine. Please give me your bubble gum. You're sitting on mine. Quite entertaining. And then we have a pocket here with a lot of faux and vintage writing paper. And a poem. It says if. More pockets with a little bitty envelope, little tags, writing cards. Has some sewing done on it. And then some dictionary in an envelope. Lot of vintage and faux vintage or faux ephemera in here. Here's another writing card that has the whip topping of the old whip can ad. And then we have an old card here. And then we have how to apply Rapid Grow. An old ad, an old book page. And then we have another Royce City Garden Club first prize. No date on that one. I'm assuming it's in the 50s or 60s like others. Couple pockets and a flip up. Not in Vain, a vintage poem. A flip up and another pocket with some decoupage, birds, some stamping. And then we have this old Cadillac. And this is a dinner playhouse book. It's a flower and some lace. Then it is all attached writing space back here. And it has all of the pages that you could read about what the plays were and some ads, and wondered how they enjoyed the play. You know? Very interesting. That's the back page. Then we have an owl. Many owls here. And then we have a long whip topping ad that was attached. Sewing on this one. He's a cute little thing. Writing, an old stamp page, dictionary page. Kids Dictionary page. So much going on in this book. National Dynamics Corporation letter. Beautiful room. Love looking at these books that have the designs. Little crunchy designs that they put together. Florentine flute. Wonder what it's like to sit in that audience and listen to all of those go off. Old biology paper. Stamp page. And here is another one of his cards. And the cream that won't sour. And this is a turkey apparently trying to get away. And the little quip guy has got a hold of his feathers, not letting him go. And again, if it looks upside down, but if you actually scan this with Google, just get under your Google line and hit picture, it will tell you what this says. I believe they're a religious book, but I can't swear to it. And flowers, about flowers. Here's a little vintage ad with two little kids with halos. It talks about when Santa Claus comes. And they're both sitting there waiting. Plenty of writing space, plenty of things to read. Living back in the time. Love that. That old tattered doll in this picture. She's got to be so old. And here, that tree looks really old. They might ought to take it out. Anyway, more of the colored dictionary for kids. Dictionary page. Writing pages. We're getting to the back where we have this picture of the owls. We have this, and this is actually a flip down with lots of fun. And it's connected here and here. You flip this up. Let me pull it down some. You flip this up and you have two little pockets. And in the pockets are vintage cigarette packs. But in the cigarette, or not cigarette, matches. Matches. Sorry about that. And where the matches were, I replaced and put little writing tea paper so you could actually write in the little matchbook. But these were so fun. Can you imagine the conversation of each match strike? Sorry, my camera timed out on me. Let's try this again. So that's the two matches. Trying to make sure she's going. And that's the top. We'll go down here. And when you open this, there's this booklet in here. And I'll show you in a minute what's in there. Some old writing paper, old storybooks, some old maps, some ads, some music papers, some old vintage books, some old pages out of a book. This talks about the local church denomination, and some old dictionary books, some more music papers, ads, another Playhouse booklet, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, some old vintage papers out of a book, Your Pattern for Living. This talks about later years, school years, newly married, verse baby, all that kind of stuff. And back here we have a pocket. And in the pocket are some old tax returns from the 50s. Let me see which one this is. 1945. Tax return from 1945. Old tickets at the Plymouth Theater. Student pass. Some S&H green stamps. And Central Bank of Nigeria 5. So it's not old. It's new. How many of us got those pink hall passes? Okay, so that is all of what's back here in this little hidden part. And this little book that's in there has some faux ephemera in the sides, stickers, little stamps, some writing paper, and then some more writing paper that flips up, many pages here, some more faux ephemera. And you go up, and it's more writing paper, tea dye paper. So that's a little journal in itself that's bound. And we put it right back here. And that is all that's back here. Now there's plenty of room to add more. whatever you like. And again, here's that. So we will pull this back down. And here is the back. It has more of the ads from the catalog, the Time magazine. So that is the Curious Collector Edition 2. Lots of good stuff in it, lots of interesting stuff in it, lots of place for you to write, think, relive some old times, think about what it was back in the day. And I hope that, I would enjoy this, just reliving. So again, addition to the Curious Collector. If you have any questions, just leave me a message and I'll get back to you. Please make a comment, like, share, subscribe, so I'm able to make more of these journals. I love the Curious Collector editions, and there will be more to come. So I appreciate you stopping by, and y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.